It is never particularly fun when a football squad is looking thin. Because, I mean, you want a lot of quality in there, right? And it is especially bad if moves happen out of sync, if you are selling players before you are bringing them in. And having a look at the Leeds United squad situation at the moment, especially in the sort of wide defensive areas, the Whites are seemingly on the brink of a potential full-back crisis. So, in this video, I'm going to explain that potential crisis and sort of run through all the potential issues. And this is a combination of many, many stories all at the same time. I'm going to go through them one by one, and then I'm going to talk about what it means for the squad. Just because I feel like if you talk about any one of these in isolation, you don't get the full picture. So stick around to sort of learn what it's going to mean going into next season. But we're going to have to start with Rasmus Kristensen. And genuinely, we honestly thought that nobody would want him. Based on last season when he was at Roma, he was thoroughly underwhelming. He and Llorente were both at Roma. Llorente was called up to their Europa League squad. Kristensen wasn't, reportedly because of some weird registration rules, but either way, he wasn't good enough to be there. And I feel like people don't want him this summer for fairly obvious reasons. His quality isn't the best, and if you combine that with his wage demands, it doesn't add up. You'd be paying way more per week than is really worth your while to sign Rasmus Kristensen. The math ain't mathin' when it comes to signing Rasmus. Or at least it wasn't. But according to Fabrizio Romano, he understands that Eintracht Frankfurt are interested in the former AS Roma fullback Rasmus Kristensen, now back to Leeds. The phrasing of that, a little bit of a dick move, but he is reportedly one of the names that are in their shortlist. This doesn't mean that Rasmus Kristensen is going to go. It means that Eintracht Frankfurt, who are also in need of a right-back, will have identified him as a fairly reasonable option. Someone that is on the list of, if we sign them, we'd take it. No complaints. Doesn't mean he's their number one target, doesn't even mean he's their number two target, but he means that there is a discussion happening there, and that isn't always necessarily the best thing for a club that is looking to hold on to its players right now. Currently, his value, based on PSR and the way that sort of the value of his contract depreciates, he's worth £6 million, so if we were to sell him, it would need to be for £6 million or higher, which means it's more likely to be a loan, because I don't think we'd be able to sell him for that. And there is potentially an attracting factor for him in that Robin Koch is also at Frankfurt, had a good showing, and he might see it as potentially a safe spot to play his football for a little while. There was a decent chance of Rasmus remaining next season, and there still is a solid-ish chance of Rasmus staying at Leeds United, and I think he would have been a sort of reasonable depth option. I don't think I would have loved if he was our starting right-back. I don't think he would have been our starting right-back. I'll get into that a little bit later. But he would have been a little bit of sort of supporting play that we could have used. Someone that would have played a much bigger role, in my opinion, would be Junior Firpo. And this story feels significantly more solid than the Kristensen one. It feels like it's come from a local source who are always typically a little bit more reliable because Romano just sort of builds his news on a network of people that might know things. And the thing with Junior Firpo was he seriously upped his level last season, and a lot of people were still sort of on the fence about him, even after the season. So I had a look at some various numbers and stuff. He had as many shot-creating actions per 90 as Luke Ayling did in the promotion season, and we all remember how good Luke Ayling was that year at getting us to be creative. In addition to that, his creativity matched that of Leif Davis in open play. He had the same amount of shots created per 90 from like open play situations, with Davis having significantly more purely because he's a set piece taker. And importantly, he won 70% of his tackles, which meant that not only was the attacking side of his game good, but he'd learned to improve the defensive side, which everyone was complaining about for a long time. And fair enough, like it wasn't great, but he improved it. And that's really what you can keep an eye on. And he was also hugely successful in terms of carries into the penalty area, so he's good defensively, he's good aggressively, excellent wing-back. I would love to keep him next season, but there is now interest being reported in him with Real Betis in negotiations with Leeds for Firpo. And later on in said tweet from, I can't remember the specific name of the outlet, but it's a reasonably consistent Spain outlet, Junior's wish is to return to Real Betis. He is willing to make an effort. Junior Firpo's career went from Betis, where he was excellent, to Barcelona, where he underperformed a fair bit, to Leeds United, where last season was the only time that he properly got kicking. And the fact that there's this link means that it's not the most promising for Leeds United, because he had an excellent time at Real Betis. Plus, it's the top tier of football in Spain. Plus, I think culturally he will want to go home because of the amount of people that have been incredibly iffy to him during his time at Leeds United. When it comes to PSR value, I think it's only fair to have a look. It's £3 million. He's in the final year of his contract. And that means that either way, we need to make a decision, and either way, we're gambling. Keep Junior Firpo. We don't know if he'll sign a new contract, which means that we could be promoted to the Premier League, and then, oops, we've not got a left-back. Or we could stay down in the Championship, and then, oops, we've not got a left-back. Could try and offer him a contract, but there's no guarantee that he'd sign it. At the same time, if you sell him, you need a left-back that can do the same stuff, that can do the box-to-box stuff, that can create chances and defend effectively. And honestly, I feel like he was the key to how we played in the second half of last season. He and Bamford coming into the team transformed us. Because where Byram preferred to cut in a little bit, he wasn't too comfy doing the overlapping stuff. Firpo was, and you could see us massively ramp up in creativity as a result. There is someone that we're looking at signing that can do all these things. Other flank, right back, Jayden Bogle. He's the reason that I wouldn't have said Rasmus Kristensen is going to be our first choice next season, because he is the subject of Leeds United's interest right now. He is a marauding right back, a wing back, thinking Junior Firpo on the right, loves to get box to box, especially when he was in the Championship. Did it less in the Premier League, but significant amounts of that will come down to the fact that, obviously, because you're being pinned back by City, Arsenal, Liverpool wingers every single week. He played reasonably in the Premier League, and Sheffield United need cash right now, to which Leeds United have decided, you know what, we quite like him. Whites have made 2 different £4 million offers that have been structured differently, I'm guessing to sort of provide payment up front in terms of the sort of second offer to sort of go, right, okay, we'll pay the same amount, but you can have more of it now, just to sort of guarantee that you're getting all the cash and it's helping you on the financial front. However, Sheffield United reportedly want £7 million. Odds are they'll be somewhere in the middle where both sides are happy with the number. And whilst I've seen some people complain about the fact that Leeds have tried to lowball it, honestly, it makes sense to me as a strategy. You do not need to pay full whack if you can be smarter and you can go for a cut price. If you can, at the end of the day, pay £3 million less because you don't know what the tipping point is for Sheffield United to sell Jayden Bogle, if you can pay less, then you've got more money available elsewhere for other marquee signings. But I agree, the optics on this are bad. It gives the impression of being slow or being stingy or trying to do it on the cheap or having a fire sale or whatever. And as far as reports have seen, it looks like Bogle's likely to sign within the next week, but we will have to see. But at the end of the day, all these news stories combined, what does it all mean for Leeds United? Because that's what we care about. At the end of the day, we don't care about the specific names that are in the starting lineup next season. We care that they play well, and we care that they care, and that things are going to end positively for the fans. And it means that at the moment, without any new signings, we're starting very depleted in the wide areas of defence if these 2 players do go out, and if getting Bogle in is a struggle. At the moment at the club, we have Sam Byron, off the top of my head, and really nobody else. Archie Gray played at right back last season, isn't here anymore. Shackleton could do a job, isn't here anymore. Connor Roberts went back from his loan. Firpo potentially out. I guess Fuba can play at left back. I'd much rather he didn't have to. And we need to remember that pre-season has also started. And we need people to know their roles going into the season, otherwise tactically it will just look a little bit of a mess. Which would be very, very bad, because we all remember how bad last August felt. When there were matches we should have picked up points in, but we didn't because of players striking and because things didn't quite look right and we didn't have the squad in the shape it needed to be. And we need to remember that we are currently in a better shape than we were last season, but this could be a crucial week. If it's a good week, if we sign a couple of players, if we hold on to key members of the squad, this is going to be a fantastic week for us and it will set us up for a good season. But if it just looks like more and more players are leaking out, I can see the dissenting voices getting louder and things being significantly tougher for the club. But that's all what I think. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on the fullback situation as it stands, what it's going to mean going forwards, and ultimately how Leeds United are going to end the window. I'm a little bit curious on that. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're not yet. That's always hugely appreciated. Even become a channel member. It's 99p and that all goes to Prostate Cancer UK. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. Why don't we just have, like, youth left-backs at this point? Just an army of Leif Davises. Breed them. Be great. Came out weird. See you later.